Hello, hello, hello. I think we're live. I see the light is on and the little thing is circling. I think we're live now. How is everybody? My goodness. Okay, so it is week 2 of the 60-day challenge. And by now, we have been doing some things with our essential oil diet, hopefully. I've been checking in with you guys. I've been getting some private messages. I've been getting some emails, and it's so good to hear from you. It's so good to be in a community of like-minded people that are working together to hold each other accountable and to encourage one another and to make better choices and make our bodies very, very strong. So, by now, you have probably started doing your kitchen makeover, both in your pantry and in your refrigerator and your freezer. I know I started doing this, gosh, about coming up 7.5, 8 years ago. This fall will be 8 years that I started becoming awake to what was wrong with the standard American diet. And so, I remember thinking, wow, I've spent a lot of money on these groceries and I don't want to just throw them away. I want to be a good steward of what I have in my home. And so I would work towards using up what I had and then replacing it with things that were healthier options. And so I love that this book by Dr. Z and Sabrina have paved the way for us to just have these cheat sheets. I mean, it's so simple to go by their list and see, wow, okay, these are the things that are healthy, that will serve my body in a health giving way, and not in a negative way. And so you have those lists. So be sure and print them out, keep them handy, maybe make some, in your grocery shopping app or whatever you use to help things become convenient for you to do your shopping. Keep those lists handy. I know I live here in central Alabama. I'm not too terribly far from Birmingham. We have one big Whole Foods and we have one, well, actually two Sprouts. And I love Sprouts. I have their app and I love being able to get their sale circulars ahead of time. I also have the Whole Foods app, but it's just not as convenient for me to go to Whole Foods as it is Sprouts. And so I noticed last week, well, I think it's still going on through today because their sales run Wednesday to Tuesday. But last week they had a lot of their non-dairy things on sale. So I went and bought some more things for my matcha green lattes. Oh my goodness, can I just tell you, all this time, we started this in January, as you know, and all this time when I make my matcha green lattes, I've been using just your standard coconut milk from So Delicious. That's what I've been using. And if you've used it before, you know it's delicious, but it's thin and watery, kind of like the consistency of a really skim milk. So that's what I've been using in my matcha lattes, and I have loved my matcha lattes. But I bought the creamer last week at Sprouts, and oh heavens, my matcha latte game has been taken up to here. And it's so much creamier and better because those creamers are thicker. Now, of course, you want to get the non-sweetened, unsweetened variety. You want to get the ones that don't have all the additives. So I know So Delicious is a brand, and they have one. There's a couple of others too, and you'll see in those posts that I've already made for you here in the Polishing My Life group, where you can find the pantry list and the refrigerator list and the freezer list on how you can be stocking up on that kind of stuff. Some of this is shelf stable for a good long time. So I think I'm going to be going through a lot more creamer than I had been in the past because I'm making a double batch each morning, and then I'm reserving half of that for later in the day. Or this morning, I actually had the second half of my batch from yesterday, so it saved me a little time in the kitchen this morning. So do what you need to do to make life easier for you. And I love that you guys are sharing here in the group some of your recipes. Dawn, I cannot wait to try your acorn squash recipe because I'm growing a garden and I planted some seeds of this yellow acorn squash I'd never grown before, and wouldn't you know that that plant loves my yard. It loves our garden so much. It is trailing off. If you're following me on Instagram or in my stories, you might have seen me out in my garden in the early morning showing you these massive vines. It reminds me of Jack and the Beanstalk because they're taking over and winding their way around, and now they're putting off all of these gorgeous yellow acorn squash that I have no idea how to prepare. So share with me all of your vegetarian, vegan recipes so that we can, trade out some of those things. I know this book is full of recipes, and we've been trying some, and you've been trying some. I see where you're reporting that your spouse may love the things, or maybe they don't want to, go down that path. It's quite funny to me. I grew up in a time where our parents made us eat what was on our plate. And that was good and bad, because when we ate what was on our plate, we tried things that we probably wouldn't have tried because of texture or color or shape or whatever, smell. We thought we wouldn't like it. But it was kind of bad because we created habits that we were in the clean your plate club, right? So when you're in the clean your plate club, sometimes we overeat. We put everything on our plate and we eat it all up, and we feel like we're being a good steward of what was on our plate. Sometimes we go back and fill our plate up again, and we clean it again a second time. So those are kind of the habits that we'll be visiting all through this challenge. I love that we can maybe get a smaller plate. Lately, I've been using our salad plates instead of our big dinner plates to plate up my meal. And that way I'm conscious about how much food am I actually putting on my plate, because I can eat. I love to eat. And all throughout my career, I've kind of get busy and really involved in what's going on in the day. And I realize it's been hours and hours and hours since I ate. And then I eat too much because I'm starving, right? So I'm sure you can relate to that as well. And so I'm just really trying to make sure that I'm making time to prepare healthy meals, and that I'm using a smaller plate, and that I am being a good steward of what I have. I know that eating healthy sometimes can have like the idea that it is very expensive, but I can tell you it's not. And I don't even care if you're on like government programs for food stamps. You can spend your money wherever it is resourced from on healthy, fresh fruits and vegetables. And if you shop smart, shop the sales, maybe even get into a program. I know Dawn mentioned that she's in the Misfits box program. She gets a monthly shipment. I think it's monthly, it may be more often than that, of fresh produce. And she just finds creative ways to use in whatever comes in that box. And it's a healthy, convenient way because it's delivered to her door. So check out some of those services and see how you can stretch your budget. If you're also following my stories and my YouTube channel, you may have seen some of the videos that I've been putting out. I love cooking on our Blackstone griddle outdoors. And I have been making meals out of very minimal ingredients. So this week I did a video where I made a meal off one potato, one squash, one zucchini, a half of an onion, a half of a pepper. I mean, it was like minimal amount of groceries, but it fed four of us. And so if you really think about how much food we maybe are throwing away, we allow produce to go bad in our refrigerator or in our produce basket on our kitchen counter. I keep a basket of non-refrigerated produce, and I feel so guilty because life gets in the way. We get busy, and I realize, oh my goodness, this is past its prime. I have to throw it away or give it to the chickens or whatever. Not everybody has chickens that will eat everything that's gone bad in their fridge. But my point is, really plan out your meals. And hopefully by now you've realized that the Essential Oils Diet book has a meal plan for you. And so that makes it super easy for people like me and you who are, trying to plan cooking around having all the kids at home, having the grandkids maybe at home, having college kids home. I know with this global shutdown that we've experienced for the last, what are we, 3 months now, that we've all had our new normals that we've been doing. We've had to adjust and homeschool and do business from home or work from home or whatever it is. And then we find that maybe we are slipping on our meals and we're eating things that are shelf stable and not so good for us. So I love chapter 3 in this book, and I'll do a breakdown just like I've done on chapter 1 and chapter 2 already in the group. But I want to kind of talk to you through a little bit of chapter 3 because this is where Dr. Z and Sabrina really break down like the misinformation that's in our culture, especially here in America, of our food. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my glasses because, you know, I have to be able to read. Okay, so this is chapter 3. I love the scripture that Dr. Z used. It is from John 8:32. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You guys, I think now more than ever, we live in a time where we are waking up to so many truths, so many. And we're digging in and looking for the facts, like what is the truth? We know we can't trust everything we see on TV or everything we see on social media as being the truth. So we really have to watch, listen, read, research, and then apply this to our own life. Okay, so I want to help you understand that as we go through, especially this chapter, that you need eyes to see and ears to hear about some of these, because there are 8 so-called health foods that maybe you have believed were healthy, and following maybe some other meal plan or diet or whatever, you've incorporated these, and there are, you know, there's a lot of information about why these health foods are not so healthy for you. Okay, so and actually there's a lot of information underneath all of these 8 items, and so I really want you to go through and study those and see if that's something that you've incorporated. Okay, so the first one is public enemy number 1 is soy protein. Now you may not know this, but soy is in all kinds of things. Soy lecithin, I love chocolate, and soy lecithin is in almost every brand of chocolate out there. And so the reason that soy is not so healthy is that 99.9% of all the soy grown is inundated with glyphosate or Roundup. And it's genetically modified to be able to be dusted by air with airplanes, laying all that herbicide down to kill all the weeds so that when the farmers come through and harvest the soybeans, they're only getting soybeans and not the weeds. Well, the problem is the soybeans have all absorbed all that glyphosate, all that Roundup, and it stays within that plant material, and then it ends up in our food supply. So I actually do a health scan called the Saito Scan. I use the Saito Balance software. It's an incredible software, but it shows us the body's stressors. And it shows all kinds of things that help us to go, wow, I didn't know that that was really stressing my body that way. It also shows balancers, which helps me to communicate with my clients better on what's really going to catapult their wellness to the next level. But almost every scan I do on people, glyphosate is a stressor in the digestive area, in the liver area. We see water contaminants. We see a lot of stuff, but soy is a no-no. So read about that and really look at your labels as you're shopping for your groceries and investigate, being able to remove soy from your diet. Okay, I know some of you are vegans, vegetarians, use a lot of tofu and soy protein. Just make sure that you're using a non-GMO organic variety of that. Okay, now number 2, there's a death food, not a health food, and that is in conventional meat. Now, there's a lot of areas we can go in about meat. Now, we love meat. We use meat. We raise chickens here for fresh eggs. We haven't harvested chickens for meat, But we are talking about that. That's a conversation we're having right now because of, we're hearing stories that meat, good quality organic meat may not be available as readily as we've been used to in our markets. And so we pay attention to that. My husband's a hunter-gatherer, and so we have a lot of venison in the freezer, and we live off of that as well. But we really want to know where our meat's coming from. Again, all of this factory farming and the things going on with raising food in an economic way to feed a lot of people in an economic way. Farm animals they're given a lot of medications, a lot of antibiotics, a lot of GMO foods, and unfortunately that comes through into the meat. So read about why we really want to shop organic, non-GMO sources of meat protein. Now, during the first 30 days, the fast track that we're on right now, you're not having any meat if you're following the book. And the reason why is we're resetting our digestive system. You may have heard the terms leaky gut. Now, leaky gut is a complex situation, but myself and my husband have been healed from leaky gut. And one of the problems with leading up to leaky gut is that meat is really hard to digest. And as we're digesting it, if we don't have the right enzymes and the right probiotics and the right balance of that gut microbiome, then that meat sits in our gut and it ferments, literally ferments. It just sits there and builds up. And so in this 30-day fast track, one of the main reasons why we're not using meat is because we're giving our gut a rest. We're giving our gut a chance to catch up, to use those enzymes from plant-based foods and to flush out some of that old undigested meat protein. Okay, so that's number 2, meat. And number 3, farmed fish is full of poison. All right, so we think about fish as healthy. If we go out to eat, we may choose the fish dish because it's maybe grilled and it's not fried and it's not red meat, because we've read about red meat, right? And we just choose the fish option. However, most restaurants we go to, and a lot of the fish that you buy in the market is farm raised. We go right back to that factory farming. A lot of this farm raised fish and shrimp and other aquatic protein is raised with, again, antibiotics, GMO feed, a lot of things that end up into that fish, and then we are eating it and we're getting it in that second generation sort of way. So tilapia is one of them. You may choose to raise tilapia on your farm and allow them to be raised naturally, but tilapia is raised, almost all of it is factory farmed with factory kibble. Think about catfish food or cat food or dog food. That kind of food, bottom of the food chain kind, is fed into those fish. And so not so good. Not so good for our health. It's a big way we will also absorb heavy metals and other contaminants and even parasites. Okay, I don't mean to get too gross on you, but right now, even during the 30-day fast track, you can have small amounts of wild caught fish. Like I said, my husband's a hunter-gatherer. He loves to fish. He catches fresh fish in farm raised, not farm raised, but like ponds that are not fed. They are fresh water ponds where the farmers or the people who own the property are not adding to the fish with the feed, right? So it's good bass. And then also wild caught salmon. Be careful when you're shopping for salmon that you're not finding salmon that's been injected with dyes to make it like that beautiful salmon color. There's just, read the labels. It's sometimes these truths come out as you're studying, and instead of just running through the grocery store and grabbing things, we really need to know the truths about them. Okay, number 4, this is about fruit juice. We love juice. I'm actually drinking my purified water here with a splash of pure cranberry juice in it. But store-bought fruit juice is sugar by any other name. Okay, so be careful as you're buying fruit juices that you're not just you're not replacing some of the refined sugars in your diet with a fruit juice. Your fruit juices can really be loaded with added sugar. Most conventional juices has also been pasteurized. to kill bacteria, and that also destroys the vitamins and minerals, which just leaves behind a lot of fructose. So you're giving yourself a big boost with that fruit juice, okay? It'd be great if you could just juice your own juice or choose brands that do not add added sugars to it, and they don't do the ultra pasteurized juice, and limit your juice to almost nothing during your first fast track. Okay, your first 30 days, juice really should not be coming out. You shouldn't be drinking large amounts of juice at all. Okay, number 5, the vegetable oil hoax. This is a big one, guys. Also in this category, number 5, is the myth about margarine. Really go through and read here, because this is full of information. Canola, corn oil, cotton oil, soybeans, they're widely genetically modified. And unless they're organic, they're just doused with pesticides. You're getting those insecticides and pesticides and herbicides in your body, causing problems when you're using some of these things. So we want to use heart healthy, brain healthy oils, like a good pure extra virgin olive oil. I love coconut oil and fractionated coconut oil. You'll see some other reasons why we want to make sure that we're not using those oils. My own mother, in the beginning of the shutdown, well, I was about a month into it, she was running low on some groceries. She's 75. I didn't want her to have to get out, and so I volunteered to run some errands for her. Well, on her list was vegetable oil. Well, I brought back a big gallon jug of grapeseed oil for her from Costco, and she was asking me, what do I do with this? Because in her generation, cooking oil is your canola oil, right? It's the corn oil, it's the vegetable oil. And organizations like the American Heart Association has their seal right there on the brands that tell you this is a heart healthy oil. I wish we could believe that, but again, this is misinformation. The more you know, the better you can do. Okay, so margarine. Margarine is also from processed vegetable oils, and it's not good for you. It's closer to, molecularly speaking, to plastic than it is food. So really read that chapter. That's on page 53 and 54. All right, number 6, artificial sweeteners are up to no good. That is so true. On that Saito Scan I mentioned before, we see artificial sugars as a stressor all the time. And so when we start talking to our clients about, okay, where do you think you're getting these artificial sweeteners? They're like, I don't know. I gave up the pink stuff and the blue stuff and the yellow stuff a long time ago. So I don't know where I'm getting it. And so what I encourage them to do, we start going through, okay, do you drink coffee? Uh-huh. Okay, what do you put in your coffee? Some flavored creamer. Ding, 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 ding. Look at your flavored creamers. Aspartame, sucralose, all these fake sugars will end up flavoring some of those wonderfully tasting things that we add into our meals along the way. What about salad dressings? What about other condiments like ketchup and mayonnaise? Look at those things, because especially salad dressings, so loaded in those oils we just talked about and these artificial sugars. Okay, so be careful. Number 7, pass on the microwave popcorn. First of all, can I just tell you, we have given up our microwave. We have been remodeling our kitchen. I took the microwave. It was on a shelf. It's not built in, but we took it and we put it in our basement just to see if we could do without it. And you know what? It's been 6 months. We've done without it. Pretty cool. So the microwave, it emits EMFs, and we want to stay away from all of that electromagnetic pollution that we are all being inundated with. But number 7 is about microwave popcorn. You guys, first of all, corn is one of the most GMO processed vegetables, plants that we have. And so your microwave popcorn a lot of times is full of GMO corn. But it's also, the inside of the microwave bag has PFOA in it. And I'm not even going to try to tell you what this big long word is that PFOA stands for. But basically what it is it's a type of Teflon that is linked to cancer. It's the same reason why we got rid of our non-stick cookware. So the inside of that microwave popcorn bag is coated in that PFOA. It also contains fake butter. We are eating real. We are being healthy. And I can't, Leslie, I could probably sit here and think back how many times we grabbed a bag of microwave popcorn, threw it in the microwave thinking, oh, I'm on a diet, so I'm just going to have this healthy snack. Misinformation, the more you know, the better you will be. Okay, so let's go on to number 8. And this is about conventional milk, conventional dairy. Now, this was one of the first things that we discovered almost 8 years ago. It's one of the reasons why we decided to get Nigerian dwarf dairy goats on our farm and raise animals for raw milk and make our own cheeses. I wish I could say that that's what I'm still doing, but my kids are grown. We only have 3 girl goats right now, no boys, so no babies and no milking. But we have a freezer full of milk that I have milked last year and cheese that we have made through that. But not everybody can do that. Totally understand that. But let's talk about what's wrong with milk. Well, first of all, most dairy cows are given that GMO feed that I keep talking about, that factory farmed animals get, the farmed fish get. Well, so do the dairy cows. And they're also loaded with artificial hormones so that they produce more milk. It's known as the RBGH. It's an artificial hormone. That increases the milk production, but according to a study in 2007, the Department of Agriculture, 17% of cows were injected with that hormone. But this hormone in cows was banned in Europe and in many other countries. So why aren't we banning that here? Why are we still doing that? Because we're seeing the hormone and endocrine system in children out of range. We see it on our skin. We see it in lifestyle. Just a couple of weeks ago, somebody posted in my essential oil group, they needed to know something that would help a child with their PMS symptoms at the age of 8. Little girls are getting their cycle. Little boys are growing breasts. This is a problem. That's not how God created our bodies. And we know that science has shown that this growth hormone is responsible for a lot of that. Okay, so we want to look for raw milk. We want to look for unpasteurized milk. We want to look for dairy-free options. That's why the fast track during the first 30 days is dairy-free. We want to, again, reset our body. You would be so surprised, and I'm sure some of you are, now that you're on week 2 of this 60-day challenge, that maybe your skin is better, or maybe you had some breakouts and they're on the way to being healed because of being like a gentle detox of what the first week of changes brought for you. But those of us that suffer with sinus and allergy issues and mucus and like a constant clearing of the throat, you'll see a lot of that clear up when you go dairy free. So love those 8 points where we talk about things that are not so healthy for us, but we might have once thought of them as health foods. You know, number 8, dairy, milk does the body good. That was a huge advertising campaign. That is not healthy, okay? All right, so this chapter also goes into the gluten, the salt, and some other information about chapter 3 and about where we're going with this 60-day challenge. I'll break that down in a post. I want to keep this video kind of short and to the point and not waste too much of your time, but I'll get this uploaded to our YouTube channel and have it ready for a replay. And then those of you that are on our email list that haven't joined our group yet, please join our group. We'd love to have you, but you'll have this video for your access as well. Keep bringing your recipes, your questions, your comments, your challenges, your wins, all of the things that are going on in your life right now. I want to hear about it. I want to support you, and I want to come together with all of the things that you're experiencing so that we can celebrate your wins and we can support you in your challenges and work through this, because you are going to be so glad you went through this 60-day challenge. The health and the wellness, the knowledge that you're bringing to you and your family and your friends, because people are going to notice that you're changing, and they're going to want to know how they can do it too. Your body's going to be strong, your immune system's going to be strong, and no matter what comes our way in this world, we can be confident that we have covered our bases and that we are strong and healthy. So I look forward to hearing from you guys. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.